Eurocentric way of approaching my topic, but now I find far from it. So I'm calling my little piece Three Voices in My Head. And just listen to the conversation that seems far more, I don't know, engaged with what Patricia was talking about. But I want to start with a little creative exercise, right? If you can help me with it, okay? Now, I thought this was going to be coming, I feel like, cold, but I now find that it's not so at all. And what I'm looking for, we know that knowledge is partly embodied, right? So there's things you say, and there's how the body is. So I want to suggest to you to imagine your worst nightmare of presenting your work. As I say sometimes, like the child confession.
Yeah, exactly.
You're offering it like your little sins at your first confession. And you're sort of there. And you found yourself in this arena that's like the Colosseum. You're in the arena and they're there. So if you can imagine and maybe shout out the things that is your worst nightmare of what people might say to you as you offer your little work, and screw your face up into the worst possible expression of cynicism, dismissiveness, making people feel small. Like, what would those things be? What would they say? What's the sort of... So I'm just giving this one as, you call this research? What a load of crap, right? So what would anybody offer me and screw their face up really? What's your nightmare? What's your nightmare? What is your nightmare?
My nightmare happened.
Yeah, so what is it? Come on, give it to me in the line and give me the face. Give me the face. No, you be the person. Be the person. You gotta be. No, what the person said. You are the person. Say it.
Role play the saying of it.
It's role play.
The tone as well.
Your role play.
The greatest load of rubbish I've ever heard in my life. You'll have all them children in mental institutions.
Great! Have we any more? Have we any more? What is it? Your nightmare now. It doesn't even have to happen to you. What's the nightmare you wake up with at night? What are they going to say to you? What are they going to say?
The point.
Yeah, and sometimes the quieter it's said is even worse. You've missed the point. What are the other ones? You had a few there.
Well, actually, you know...
Well, say it. Just say it.
What is the contribution of this?
Oh, I love the facial expression. I love the facial expression. Now, time is short, right? So I've decided, there was a prize, right? So I have time to do everyone. But really, Patricia's facial expression, right? So now, I've got a little play of the voices in my head above my research, right? And there's 4 voices, actually. But I want you to be this examiner from hell, because your facial expression, right? So, my first voice is one of my Chinese students, okay? And I've put the headings in, right? So your lines would come soon. So first, this is a Chinese student, this piece of reflective writing. In this semester I had something changed. The most significant thing, I think, is speaking. In China, the chance of speaking English is very little. When the lessons start, we were encouraged to speak and communicate, not only in lessons, but also in other aspects, problem-based learning. However, it's not easy to change this at the beginning, and I made a mistake before because of less communicate with group members. This happened in the first week. It's a precedent study that doing sketches, buildings, that's the first time I do it. With the poor English, I did almost no communicating with others, and I thought it may like Chinese teamwork that shared the results in final. Hence, I just measured the data. Didn't do sketch and sketchbook. After we finished, I realised I was wrong, because the partner didn't let me copy the work that she did. Well, I had to do it again, but not well. The important reason is I did less talking with group members. If I do more talking with others before we do the sketches, I may make it better. Hence, after that, I try my best to throw embarrassed away and more communicating with others. Now I feel natural and confident when I talk with others, and I will continue to do this to improve the level. So that's a piece of reflective writing, okay, from this work. Rubbish! Yeah! Yes! Rubbish! Now let's go on to the next one. Okay, so you're the red script.
Okay.
You're red.
You give academic credit for this in an honours university programme?
Well, there's learning from experience, a parent.
A foreign student improves his English, so what?
Well, yes, and he learns how to learn from peers.
Marks for chatting to classmates?
Well, marks for learning from experience that collaboration is worthwhile and means different things in China and Ireland. Now, an Irish student. Leadership skills. Due to the different backgrounds that came together in the team, only a few of us had the experience of working in the problem-based learning environment. I tried to step up and help lead the team. This included often taking a more vocal role in group meetings and group lab sessions by initiating topics of discussion and putting forward topics that called for research and further development. I found it a bit nerve-wracking. Leading isn't something I would usually put myself forward for, but I think I gradually gained confidence in myself and my abilities. I think this was partly shown in my interim presentation, where I felt I spoke with much more confidence than in previous presentations. I'm glad the IDP, that's Integrated Design Project, gave me the opportunity to develop my leadership skills, as I feel it's something that will be invaluable to me in the future working as an engineer. Here's the Irish students.
So working in a team is demanding, big deal.
Well, there's significant development, recognising a need, taking the initiative to respond against the grain of personal habit.
Yes, but isn't it a bit obvious? Commonplace even?
Well, I can think of few more important events than one person growing to respond to a common need.
Why would you write about it?
Okay, so here's a big long one, and he's all about learning engineering stuff, and my time is nearly up. And he says, in particular, he's saying, this made me feel uncomfortable when discussing the process involved in carrying out the flexural design with my group members. This prompted me to research and learn more about the purpose of so that he could confidently discuss it with his team. And down at the end there, he's saying, in my future career, cost is very important for the client, and a reduction in steel is a reduction in cost. By fully grasping the concept of effective width, I'll be able to create more efficient and cost-friendly solutions.
The concept involved is not very difficult, is it? You could teach that in a lesson or test it in an exam.
Well, many things can be taught in a lecture, but what's learned is a different matter.
But sure, what's wrong with using the tutorial system to exercise and embed the knowledge? Isn't that what it's for?
Well, we know many students don't turn up, and we also know it's a passive process. And this student has achieved sufficiently deep learning to explain the idea to his teammates through independent learning motivated by his felt obligations to his teammates.
But how do you know it's true? Maybe he's lying. Did you see him explaining it?
No, I didn't. I believe his account is credible in its details, since I see the students' reflective accounts developed over 3 stages with feedback, and I know the context well, and I'm closely involved in the process.
So if the team processed, even if it did motivate learning, like what did he gain by actually writing about it?
He can give credible, specific and evidenced accounts to potential employers at interview of how his collaborative problem-based educational experience developed his technical understanding and independent learning habits. So there.
You always have to have the last word, don't you?
Well, actually, I'm giving the last word to a student.
I'd say you picked just the one that suited you.
Now, maybe I won't even go because time is short. I have another, there's lots of them, okay? So that's me. So those are the voices in my head and the students' voices and the work, and that's what's happening. So is it PhD enough?
I think it's really good to pay attention to the voices in the head and put them out. They're less powerful when you actually, they're less big when you put them outside of your head, aren't they?